buddy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
So
all these are going to be really surprising questions for me. I have nothing written out, so.
This is Michael.
okay. Well, I have these all planned.
Oh, do you?
This is called
you. Oh, so how did I start climbing? That's a good question. So, I'd say it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I had a friend who was a climber, and she was like, "Hey, you should come to the gym with me." I said, "Yeah, okay, cool." We were both into outdoor stuff, and I just figured that, with all my hiking and mountaineering, the next logical step was rock climbing. And so she took me to the gym. I enjoyed it. Got a membership probably like 6 months later. Met a couple other cool people. We started pulling on plastic in the gym, and then went outside. So yeah, that's how I started. It was about, I would say, an hour ago. There was a wall in the town of Index called Great Northern Slab, and Jill, my partner, and I just got done with it, wrapped off, and came back. And yeah, that was the last one we did. Before that was St. Helens. I did Mount St. Helens a month ago or so, sometime around there, just before the permitting system kicked in. So Jill and I got to the top, pulled our skis up, which was fun, and then we're a bit behind, so I had to hike off in the dark. Well, actually, we skied off in the dark, which was kind of cool. But yeah, that was the last mountain. I have no desire to do that. Yeah, no, with the amount of people that just traffic that area, nah. It would be more of just walking by a bunch of toilet paper and poop the entire way. It just doesn't sound appealing to me. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some really good mountaineering spots out in the Himalayas that I wouldn't mind checking out. I don't think I'd be able to do anything that big, but yeah, I think it'd be fun to go check out the Himalayas someday. But not on the current radar, though. I've had a few. Let's see, I had one time when I was on, it was Mount Adams. I bought a new tent, and I said, this tent is going to rock it. It's going to be awesome. I got up there, and it's a great tent in the snow, but it's not a great tent on rocks. And so I pitched it out on some rocks, and it's supposed to be a super mellow night. And around, I'd say 6:30 or 7, really kind of strong wind started picking up, and it blew my tent almost off the mountain. So I'm chasing after my tent, finally get it, try to repitch it. It's not working. I'm like, I've just got to bail off this. If I can't find a place to sleep tonight, I might as well just go home. So starting at 7, I hiked off the mountain, but I took the wrong path. So I ended up going completely wrong direction, and I was hiking till midnight until I found a road. And this road leads us to the trailhead, and luckily some mountaineers, climbers were heading up to the trailhead, saw me, and stuck my thumb up, and they drove me. I was about 7 miles away from the parking lot at that point, so really lost, but not too bad. Another time I got caught on top of Mount Adams in the middle of a storm, but that was probably one of the sketchiest ones that I've done so far. Got to the summit. We had clear skies. It was supposed to be a clear night, and got up there. Got up there probably at 7 in the morning, and a storm blew in. So I would say about a quarter mile from the summit, things started becoming more of a whiteout, but we knew the trail. I'd been up and down it before. So we got to the summit, and, everything's white now. Winds are blowing in. We're probably hitting 60 miles an hour or so. So we're thinking, let's descend. So we start descending, but the wind was so hard that our blueprints were covered up. So the trail that we went up on was now gone. And there's a wall in the south hall that just drops off. and there was a climber the year before that had passed away from getting too close to the edge, thinking that was the descent, and the cornice, the overhang of snow on that edge, just gave out and he fell. So we knew that, like, if we didn't know the exact path, it's not worth getting to the edge. So we saw these mounds that were coming up, but the wind was so strong that, like, you get these foot-high snowdrifts. Well, we found a spot that had like 2 or 3 foot high snowdrifts, and we ended up hunkering down between 2 walls of it. And he looked at me and he was like, "Hey, I think we're gonna be here for a while. You have an emergency blanket or a tent?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a blanket in my bag, but you know, it's only for emergencies." And he looked at me like that was the dumbest statement in the world, because you know, we're stuck on a mountain in 70-mile-an-hour winds now. Our eyes were freezing shut. It was so cold. So I pulled it out. We stayed there for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then there was a break, but it was still bad. So we knew that the better spot was at the summit. And so we went back up to the summit because we knew that was part of the trail. Once it cleared up, we could get off from there. If anyone was going up in that time, which dummies shouldn't be, they'd meet up with us. So we decided to head back to the summit. Fastest way there was up. We knew where it was. And we dug out a little snow cave to stay in. So we stayed in the snow cave for another hour and a half until we started seeing light. But yeah, the worst part of it was I started getting leg cramps, so I'd have to kick my legs out, and then feet were freezing. But yeah, ended up getting off that just fine. We just knew if we waited it out, we'd be good. That was another dumb experience. So from trailhead to summit would be rainier, because it starts like 5,500 and goes all the way up to 14,500. We'll just go with that. So it's almost 1,000 feet of vertical gain. Did it in a day and a half. Maybe it was 2 days. Another one was the tallest would have been Pikes Peak, but you can even drive to the top of that. So those were the biggest ones in the lower 48. And those are the only mountains I've been on. So. And then Mount Adams is 12.5, starts at like 45, so it's roughly the same too. Yeah, since I just got back, this is my harness. This is what I'm wearing. So if we're rock climbing, we have what's called a cordelette. You build anchors with this. Something to hang on the side of a cliff. You could also make an anchor in snow. Tie these off to spikes. And you can see my gear wall back there. Half the stuff is on here. We even have cams, which if you find a crack, you just pull it shut, put it in, and you're good to clip in. Slings, and another thing that's super important, quick draws. You just put these into bolts, or you can even do the cams. But yeah, this is the gear. And then obviously you need a harness and rope. So, see the harness there? We have a rope rack right there. You even have skis over there, and obviously helmets. Need those. So. Yeah, as far as gear, it's okay to go slow at first if you want to get into mountaineering. You got a harness, your boots, just make sure you bring plenty of layers, and after harness and stuff, you have rope and some quick draws, and you just build from there. So I'm reading a book right now called Down. This author is amazing. He talks about all the different ways you can get off a mountain with or without a rope. And most of his methods involve rappels. And his number one thing is if you don't have to rappel, don't do it. Rappels take longer. They're usually the most dangerous way off. Sometimes they're the only way off. Yeah, you just rappel off. You put your rope around something, you get on that rope, and you just zing on down. And you have to make sure that you find the next anchor, because you don't want to get to that the end of the rope, because after the end of the rope is nothing but air. So My favorite method of getting off an area, walk. It's the safest bet. You've already done most of the work by climbing. Walk off.
Okay.
Thank you, dude, and thanks for making this. I want to be a part of it.